We are safe to say that we're entering the decade of the robot. The humanoids market is really tiny right now. It's worth $2 to $3 billion, but our latest research shows it could be a $200 billion market. But I think the bigger point and the key picture here is that humanoids is just one element of a much broader physical AI ecosystem, which includes drones, it includes autonomous vehicles, and other forms of advanced industrial robots. And so, taking everything together, we could hit the $1 trillion mark by 2045, and hence the investment opportunity is really sizable. But what I think is also particularly interesting is that this is a new investment opportunity that comes on top of what we've already seen in AI's first wave, which was more digital. This is the next frontier now. AI is getting physical. We have intelligence that comes to the real world, and that brings a whole new set of investment opportunities. And companies, industries, countries are very interested in this trend because the reality is that what we're facing right now is shortages, labor shortages that come as a result of aging populations, changing workers' preferences, and urbanization. And so we don't have the workers where we want them to be, and humanoids could be an answer to that picture.
So that humanoid deployment, is it happening now? Do we have humanoids that can operate in factories now that have that intelligence layer that allow them to do the tasks that otherwise would have been done by humans? Is that happening? Is that a now story, or is that a next year or a few years out?
I think it is a now story. The industry is just beginning to scale up. We estimate that in 2026 we're going to see about 60,000 humanoid robots deployed worldwide, and that's a significant step up compared to last year when we only saw 15,000 humanoid robots. And what's driving this acceleration is actually improvements across what we call the three Bs: the bronze, the brain, and the batteries. These are the three critical Bs that you need to produce a humanoid robot. And as all of these three Bs get better and more efficient, the costs are coming down. We've seen a 30-fold decrease in costs over the past decade. And I think we're going to see definitely more. And we estimate that by 2035, we might see about 13 million new humanoid robots deployed annually, and that's a very large number compared to where we stand today.
And we touched on the physical data and that being a constraint. Is that being solved? How much has been advanced on that front?
So I think that people often forget that humanoids is as much a physics problem as it is an AI problem. And the challenge that the industry faces right now is that we need to work towards general purpose intelligence so that these machines are really efficient, they're really useful in the real world. To do that, we need to take a step back and accumulate physical AI data. And the paradox right now is we just have a big shortage of physical AI data. The world has an abundance of digital data, but the challenge with that is that it's a bit tricky to translate that into real-world actions that we need to train humanoids on. So, for example, YouTube has about 280,000 years of video footage, but only a tiny fraction of that is actually useful to generate the insights that are needed for these machines to operate and to navigate the real world. And what we're seeing right now is that companies are working towards solving that problem by accumulating the data needed, be it through deployment in the real world, like we send the humanoids on internships out there, we collect the data, and then the next generation of humanoids gets better.
Does China end up dominating the robotics space? Do they end up leading and winning this market like they've done with EVs, like they've done with renewable energy?
So I think the short answer to that question is China has that right now, but I think that the US and Europe are still very, very much in the race. The reality is that China is the world's powerhouse in terms of robotics. It installs nearly half of the industrial robots of the world, more than 90% of the humanoids. And that did not happen overnight. It's a result of a decade-long state-guided push along the entire value chain, from critical minerals, energy, and key components such as batteries. But China does not hold all the cards. We've done analysis using millions of patents and innovations, and what you see is, yes, it's true, China leads when it comes to kinematics. That's kind of the physical form behind the robot, but the US leads when it comes to AI models and advanced chips. And now you may ask, where does this leave Europe? Right? And I think that Europe's opportunity lies in high precision components and high precision manufacturing, because humanoids are in many ways like cars in miniature. They rely on the same set of very sophisticated components, in particular actuators and motion systems. And now, if you take a step back and look at where these components are produced on the world's map, well, Europe lights up. Europe produces about a third of the world's high-precision actuators. Germany alone, 10% of the world's supply. So I think that if you put these numbers together, Europe and the region is very well placed and positioned to leverage its automotive heritage, its industrial past, and to become a leader in the space. So if you ask me the question, would Europe produce the majority of that 13 million humanoids that we expect deployed by 2035? Probably not. But does it have the potential to become a key supplier to that robotics industry? I would say absolutely yes.